To make my tortata, the first thing I do is I slice my potato lengthwise, and then I slice it once more lengthwise, and both sides. I'm doing this with one hand because I'm holding the phone with the other, and then I slice it very, very thin across. And I mean thin. I tried, not onion thin, but thin enough to where it's going to cook in the olive oil quickly. Now I'm using red potatoes because they cook faster and they taste better. So once you get all those pieces together, then what you do is you get your olive oil hot in an iron skillet, and you use the seasonings that you like. We use one called Pappy's, Pappys. We love it. We found it here at the grocery stores in Washington State. And I also add oregano, and I add Spanish paprika and a little bit of garlic salt. I also cut up sweet onion and I put it inside, and as you can see, these have been cooking for about 15 minutes and they're pretty done. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put in the spinach on the top, and I'm going to let it sit there for about 5 minutes until it actually just wilts a little bit. So this is on low, the skillet, and I'm putting this on now to illustrate. What I've done is I basically buy the spinach. I'm going to turn this down a little bit more just to slow down the heat here. But I buy the bagged spinach and I put in about 2 cups. And sometimes I'll add more, sometimes I will add less. And as you make this recipe, you will learn to add your favorite ingredients. And you don't always have to make it this way, but I love spinach. Brian loves spinach, so that's what we do. The next step is to put the 6 eggs and 1/4 cup of cream into this mixture. However, make sure you've already mixed those up really well together. That's 6 eggs and 1/4 cup of cream. Okay, I'm back, and it's only been a couple minutes and the spinach is starting to wilt. So it looks nice and healthy. I'm gonna spread it around a little bit more because once you have it in here, you're not really going to move this around much. Everything's going to stay in place all the way until you get it into the oven. So far we have 3 red potatoes, and I've used 1 large one and 2 medium-sized red potatoes. I have a cup to a cup and a half of spinach and 6 eggs and 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. So you want to prepare the heavy whipping cream and the eggs before you even start cooking this, and then leave them out to get them at room temperature. Also in this recipe we have cherry tomatoes. I use 6 cherry tomatoes and I cut them in half, so you'll have 12 halves. And you can use 1 cup of grated cheese of your liking. I use 1 cup of cheddar cheese, and you can also use a 1/2 cup of Gruyere cheese. Today I don't have any, so I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of Parmesan. I do have an official recipe for this and I will post it, but this recipe, once you start making it, like I said earlier, you will be able to do so many things with it. You can add bacon, mushrooms. I've tried all of those things. The bacon is really good. The mushrooms does make it a little bit watery. I wasn't real happy with the results of that, so I won't use mushrooms again, but the bacon is delicious. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add the eggs. I'm going to add the egg mixture. Those are the 6 eggs with the 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'm just gonna pour it in here and try to get an even pour, starting in the middle and working my way all around. Trying to get all that egg mixture out. So this is going to cook. I'm gonna give it about 10 to 15 minutes. And you can tell when it starts to cook and get solid. It's when it stops jiggling. So once it stops jiggling, that's when you want to put it into the oven. So make sure you preheat your oven just about the time that you put your spinach in, because it'll be nice and warm by the time you get this into the oven. I've got my tomatoes over here, and I've got my Parmesan cheese. And the next step is, once this is actually cooked more, I will put those tomatoes, I'll plop them inside. I will illustrate right now just with one. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of dot them around. And then I will put my cheese on top of that. So I will be back to you as soon as we're ready to put this beautiful tortata in the oven. Okay, so this is starting to really stiffen up in some places. It's cooked on the sides, but the middle is still a little bit like jello. So I'm gonna let it cook for about 5 more minutes, and then I'm gonna start to put my tomatoes in there. And I'm just gonna spread them around kind of like a pizza. These are little cherry tomatoes. I chopped up several. I do like tomatoes, but I don't like too many. And the reason why I don't like the mushrooms in here is because it makes this a little bit watery. So those are the tomatoes. Look how pretty that looks. And in about 5 more minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and put the cheese on the top, and then I'm gonna stick it in the oven.